Here's Pierre Giudone chatting over with Rudy Eggenberger. The number 6 car, Soper at the wheel. Oh, and fuel coming out. They've got a problem there. I don't know how long they can last before the officials might ask them to head in for consultation, spraying everywhere.
Well, I've been watching the car now for the last lap or so, and it's really pouring out. They've obviously got a fuel seal problem, or on the vent side of the car there's a seal problem, and that's causing them plenty of drama. Steve actually finished 4th in this race earlier in the year with Neville Crichton in the XR4 TI.
Coming out of the corner, and black flag coming out for Steve Soper. Big dramas.
The reason for the black flag, I suppose, it looks that when we fueled the car, one of the refueling valve is stuck in open, so we're losing some fuel, and therefore the official have probably decided to stop the car, but we can fix that very, very quickly.
Nissan know how, you betcha. Ken Bajan and Graham Bowkett, 8th place overall in the rather untidy-looking Nissan Skyline.
On a couple of occasions I saw both their cars being reefed out of the guardrail or having some sort of a problem, but fortunately for the Sleepyhead Nissan team from New Zealand, they've both got their cars running and up again, and they're in the top 10, which is a great performance, and I think Ken is doing an admirable job.
Here's Steve Soper coming into the pits, trying to release that valve. Rudy Eggenberger, some pandemonium going on in here. A quick stop, he's underway. Big dramas though, he didn't come in the first time around.
He did not come in the next lap, did he? Radio did not work, so we showed him the second time. I'm not prepared to accept that. When we show a black flag here, we require for the driver to come in immediately.
You have
that is a
three
rule.
times you have to show. You did it only once. The second or the third time you missed it. So give him a chance. We did it. We get him in.
The politics continue. Meantime, Klaus Ludwig, the race leader, is in the pits. Eggenberger crew quickly at work. And it looks like, in fact, that Ludwig is going to stay in the car, Richard Hay.
Yes, indeed, he is. And no problems with the fuel seals on that car. It was, in fact, a little rubber fuel seal on the side of the tank that the fuel goes in that had jammed the tank open.
Oh, his problems. It looks like the Annette Moiverson Mercedes Sturmitz car. Oh, she's had a big crease. Mercedes in trouble at the bends.
Well, that's a real disappointment because they were running extremely consistently. Annette was setting a blistering pace earlier on, and they were probably destined for a top 10 finish.
Roberto Ravaglia, car number 46, down into Cable Street. Incident a moment ago, as you can notice coming up on the Peter Jackson Nissan, karting right in behind Larry Perkins. Poor old 30. Some big problems there. Meantime, Steve Soper, car number 6, still continues in 3rd place, despite that pit stop they had to make to release the valve. So he's done well. And these cars have run beautifully, not only at Bathurst and at Calder, but here today on the streets of Wellington. Roberto Ravaglia still 2nd, so we're not going to have a 1-2 for the Ford Texaco cars. The BMW is going to split them. And here's the man really hauling around the streets of Wellington. Roberto Ravaglia, car number 46. Plenty of traffic to keep him busy.
Yes, and that gives us a little insight into this race, because you have to be mindful of the strong performance of the World Championship contenders, but give yourself some racing room as well, and that's a big problem for some of the slower runners.
Manuel Pirro did a great job in the first half of this race. Ravaglia finishing it off superbly in car number 46.
Well, Pirro has just been telling me that the gap now is down to something like 15 seconds. Is that right? 15 seconds between Roberto?
Yeah, I'm just talking to him. I said him to try to push because we're close to the end of the race, and 15 seconds are not a great deal. So I think now he's trying to push and trying to catch Ludwig.
And here is the race leader, Klaus Ludwig, car number 7, off Cable Street, coming back towards the wharf again. Things running beautifully for him. Let's recap them for you on the Castrol scoreboard. Ludwig is the race leader. Go Roberto in 2nd. Steve Soper is 3rd. Glenn Seat in 4th. And Brocky is 5th.
The motorised rock around the Wellington dock continues, and this is 2nd-placed Italian Roberto Ravaglia in the BMW M3. Our statistician Noel Brady tells me that he's 13 seconds down on the leader now. Richard, can he do the job?
I doubt it, to be honest, but in practice, you know, he was the quickest of all the BMW drivers, and he's really proved here why he was European champion last year.
Known to us in Australia for some very strong drives in the James Hardy 1000, and having taken over from Emanuele Pirro, and as we heard before, really pushing now to the end, chasing this man. Ludwig in car number 7, leads Texaco Ford Sierra. They said the car would break. It hasn't done that. They've maintained lap times of around the 1:33, 1:34 mark all day, and they've broken the spirit of the opposition.
Yeah, they said the rear axle would be the problem with that car, and interestingly enough, it seems to be the Commodores that have suffered from that more than anybody else.
Now Ludwig rounding up the Golson 635 BMW, one of last year's JPS cars, and does that with ease. Generally, I think most of the front runners have had a pretty good run with the traffic. There's been some dicey moments in the 500 odd kilometres, but from my viewpoint, it seemed as though most of the lads were getting through.
Klaus Ludwig would be delighted with this result today. Here's another fella should be happy with himself, Ludwig Finau, driving with Paul Radisic in the BMW. They've made it into the top 10.
Well, that just shows exactly what you can do if you're consistent and you circulate. Goofy at the wheel of the car at the moment, the 325 BMW, that's the little 6-cylinder power plant. And there is his teammate, Tony Longhurst. He was driving with Alfred Hagar in the Lockwood BMW M3, a last-minute drive that he put together with the team.
7th on the road at the moment. Outstanding performance from Tony Longhurst. Well, and problems here for Steve Soper, number 6, getting around sideways in Air New Zealand's hairpin. That's the only anxious moment that Soper has had since he came out of the pits after being called in. He's picked up the momentum again. Headlights ablaze.
He seemed to get tangled up there with one of the smaller class cars going through the hairpin. Perhaps a misunderstanding as to which side he should have gone through on.
Let's take a look on the replay as Steve Soper coming down here on the inside of the Nissan, right behind Peter Brock, stops it immediately. Oh, number 30 has to do it again. Been mixed up in a couple of incidents there today. Soper continues with an anxious moment there for him. Klaus Ludwig, meantime, in the number 7 car. Heads off Cable Street. All the cards fall into place for the man who desperately wants to win the World Touring Car Championship 87 edition, and a limited edition at that, with Klaus Niedzwitz through Drake Turn and back onto the waterfront again.
Notice that time through the S's that Klaus, using very low revs, not working the car too hard. I think he's got the measure quite comfortably of the BMW.
Here he comes, heading up towards the bridge. And everything has run so superbly today for the Rudy Eggenberger Ford Texaco team. He swings out of the last turn, comes down the start, finishing straight. The Nissan Mobil 500 goes to Klaus Ludwig, car number 7. A superb drive from Ludwig, and one must say also a superb drive from his teammate Klaus Niedzwitz. And here's the Italian Roberto Ravaglia going across to take the checkered flag. Superb drive from him. And of course, finishing on the same lap back in 3rd place will be Steve Soper in the number 6 Eggenberger Ford Texaco Sierra. And behind him, the man who will place 4th, Georgie Fury, but he will be 1 lap down.
So this brilliant performance from Klaus Ludwig completes the Texaco Ford Sierra. Wins 3 in a row from the Kohler, the Bathurst and the Wellington rounds of the championship, and they can be well pleased with their performance. And the first time that the two Klauses have come away with victory. There's Niedzwitz, and they're in a very healthy position as they go into the grand final at Mount Fuji in just 3 weeks' time.
Let's recap the top 10 in the Nissan Mobil 500. First to Ludwig and Niedzwitz in the Texaco Ford. Second, Ravaglia and Pirro in the M3. Third, Soper and Giudone in the second of the Eggenberger cars. Fourth to Fury and Seaton in the Peter Jackson Skyline. Fifth to Brock and Parsons in the Mobil Commodore. Sixth, Ratzenberger and Osterreich in a BMW. Seventh, Longhurst and Hager in a BMW. Eighth, Balket Vagent in a Nissan. Ninth, Crosby and Sprague in a Nissan. And rounding out the top 10, Ludwig Finau and Paul Radisic in a BMW.
What can I say more? I'm happy to be here. Everything was perfect. Thank you for my team. Thank you for every spectator here. You did a good job. The same with me. Klaus, thank you.
The Nissan Mobil 500, round 10 of the World Touring Car Championship. We trust you've enjoyed our coverage of this 1987 classic, and we hope that you'll join us next time that 7 Sport goes motor racing anywhere in the world.